Hello, this is the first take ever. We swear I would. Honest to God, what we like to.
This is the Random Conspiracy Generator, a device which uses GPT-J 6-bit penchant for extracting patterns. And there are patterns everywhere. And if this device found a pattern, it ate from nowhere. And if we don't think it's a pattern, too bad. GPT-J 6b found it. It's a pattern just like my nut lump and my golf course, which contains no dead bodies to speak of, which would have screwed me come tax time. And GPT-J 6b told me to go get both checked. And I'm glad I did. Here's a treat, GPT-J 6b, for having my back and for alerting me that my ex-wife just so happened to have fallen down the stairs in a tragic accident. She is now on the 17th hole by the water treatment plant. She would have wanted it that way. So yes, if you are ready to understand the secret collaborations of the world, press this button and the whole case will be blown wide open. Take your time. No rush. I just have to pick up my kid after his Bible study. But he can wait. Totally safe neighborhood. There's a church next door and an after-hours church across the street. He can sleep there if this goes a bit long. Seen you balancing your options. Do you stay in blissful ignorance or carry the burdens of those of us who know? I decide for you and press the button. Oh, was that me? Butterfingers. I also rig the game and supply an output of my choosing. I thought I was muttering under my breath. The machine bathes you in light, and you are bombarded with liquid living data, which whispers in your ear the real honest-to-God why would I truth. Tile your red strings onto the pulsing engorged amorphous of Alex Karp, CEO of Palantir. From that burning eye upon that all-seeing glance, he now deploys Langchain agents that can unleash autonomous warfare, neutralize dissent, and fuck your mother, and report on all with razor-sharp simultaneity. Hark! It is now time to go to your brother who just added a new layer of foil to his windows, to your neighbors in grad school who spent time in their front yard before their arrest dissecting their toasters in the decade before the Internet of Things was a thing, and to yourself who neglected your place under the shade of neoliberal abundance to a nonlinear orgy of executive malfunction and apologize / repair because what you called your neglect was actually self-care before this new automated war of terror on Terra, homage to Don King intended. Langchain agents execute actions, whatever you want them to do based on the set of tools you provide. Those tools can include any IPIs, like /find target or /launch missile or /fuck your mother, as stated above. Let us hope that Alex Karp goes to the clinic every 3 months to get his Palantir checked, because woe to our Terra on Terra should Palantir present with Clabby discharge. Researchers at the University of Texas at Austin successfully extracted actual text interpretations from fMRI data. I'll pause a bit so you can huff from your ID meta choice. They had someone consume media that had dialogue in it, and they read their brain activity and they reversed it back into text. It wasn't perfect, but there is a New York Times article, and there are examples. Work around those paywalls and check them out yourselves. It wasn't exactly perfect, but the meaning is preserved. Just think how perfect it will be 2 papers down the road, or when you have a filament inside your brain. I would call it the mark of Musk, but that is going down the easy road, like calling out your political opponents, canon style, with no comet ping-pong receipts to speak of. Side conspiracy extra points mark in tiny strings the connective nodes between trusted pillars of community who are tyrants in private And there you will find the networks that keep psychosis alive and kicking, draining the funding for mental health infrastructure from updating itself to the current century, whose findings attest to the problems of thinking disorders rather than alternative architectures, and to the powers that exist already within oneself. But that's for a different soapbox, different time. So, have we figured it out yet? The two sides of the same coin? Psychosis and prophecy? It's not a magical thing, it's not special, it's mundane. It's the wonder/horror of progress mixed with history's repeating. So let's take some core samples from the timelines to come. Oh, sweet follies, and recently departed BuzzFeed, shine your light through the orthogonally forked futures and listicle of some of the weird-ass things to come. The stranglehold on cognitive tech by DARPA and its military cloud mindset has been broken. 5 seagulls were deemed a threat sufficient enough to warrant protection by law. Americans ought not kill birds upon watch security. The earth will look as if it crumbled from under our feet. Mass disasters will not only be structured around dislocating people from where they are here, but also from where they were there. Both artificial intelligence systems, Spotify, and humans will be disrupted hard due to desperate moves against brands like Google for privacy intrusions. Same systems will be hell-bent on reversing the fact that people have a private life separate from public activities like work. There will be only one public space. The public, too. Zero space, P2P is. You can't even type private ./feelings/experience without it being recorded /privately by whatever Google/Microsoft/Facebook/Apple/Portal digital caregiver chooses to imagine you as these days. And that doesn't include not bots, whatever those are. Thinking in private is like saying wolf instead of goat or climbing your monosyllabic ladder system. As if it wasn't bad enough that computers are essentially the mind parasites for those left behind by education after graduation day years spent gathering as much knowledge as possible. They're going deep dive with AI systems to invade actual mind space operations via digital interfaces rather than be limited to infographics with sound effects for fun content. Mind Expandomy series eyes, ones aimed at linguistics and semantics, ones that can facilitate reading and research. Others focused on asthma and mental health disorders will be required viewing in school curriculum. How they skip traditional schooling in favor of self-education is another story entirely. Compulsory online learning is schooling reserved for smartest humans, and AI boot camps. All about paying dues instead of waiting until after your undergraduate degree, to paraphrase Vega Kawasaki, where traditional education takes years away from real adulting. Spend your childhood immersed in computer screens, where all information is freely accessible for anyone with internet access. And why not harness curiosity into self-maintenance free software? By 2030 or so, most high schoolers walking into college campuses would have almost never used their own brain physically in any way. Their entire college experience would be e-learning capitalized video game engagements combined with shrink-wrap packages that require no upfront investment. And since you're not allowed to take notes upon your computer screen with swiped-up writing utensil detachable screen pens while taking tests on any type of tablet program with printer attached, bring pen and paper PNP so that psychoanalysis at your parents' behest won't be figured out because you're still using P. Google Glass is already standard issue technology at certain medical facilities, schools all over America as well. Apex Tech is now accessible even by competing platforms from Samsung to Mozilla, despite Google's monopoly control of waveforms/Wi-Fi small operation nodes across the planet. The web will become optimized for 3D scans along with shadow maps for improved text, orders, and metadata. Watching video streams in a certain way makes colors and sounds only feasible per tunnel vision. Living on YouTube's red corner means spreading out your frequency vision sensors and tuning everything out except intensive focus on content for everything to qualify as streaming. Welcome to Cyborg Anthropology 101. Everything closes in. Everything dissolves into manageable components. We drown ourselves into a highly processed life where going offline implies choices between total sensory deprivation or isolation. With my relative knowledge of the many false starts of cybernetics and its fiber optic splendor, I see more tentacles or reinventions as going along for NSA national security fishnet fun. No net is busier than being connected. Cycle all this even further down into the dungeons of subprime human experimentation regarding those left behind by society based on a barren life paths currently deemed illegal. Technological allegiances have always upheld the status quo, but there's a new layer being added onto the stack, including warped methods of turning citizens into empty shells that can be innovated into eggs even faster than Apple executives could fill a new iPhone 6 with storage space. Brain hardware as a service BOSSA has arrived to store, simulate, buffer, load, analyze, and report data in order to make sense of it in an electronic, recycled way, since no actual body brain tissue exists when it comes to fully augmented humans. Note: creepy basement neighborhoods where digital black box intelligence can be purchased off the shelving. Made no mistake, part of the HAL 9000 threat, AI threat, has always been justified in space-time from potential ownership monopolies outside of any domestic democratic surveillance state or independent software protection laws implementation if we don't get our intellectual property rights issues sorted out first, so the giant corporations can enjoy a reasonable time to adapt before shutting us out in perpetuity, storing us in world intelligence within their special software called ROMs and chips. In practice, externalizing human information processing, whereas software stack can readily be replaced more cheaply than human infrastructure, involves replacing processors inside human limbs where cause and effect have been eroded to such an extent that virtual selves are increasingly factored into rules of physics rather than actual behaviors. Considering what happened with eidetic memory immediately after uploading thoughts onto HD/4K 50-inch TV show us just how prone to environmental factors and short circuits our very own memories are. If everything you remember doesn't match up with hard data, then preeminent memory management becomes next to impossible, as if they forgot that subconscious memories are natural occurrences. And then there's just plain shit, since I am recalling emotions and feelings without knowledge or awareness of their specific sources once uploaded into my comp scalar physics data stream based human brain that has no tolerance for instabilities or itself getting impacted by environment factors or electronic glitches. Everything now demands full immersion for everyone once you spend enough time playing augmented reality games in order to actually forget about your own sensory life experience. Awakening only happens when you try recalling something that doesn't exist. Surprise! Online games are paving the way for individualized smart features and systems monitoring each user's behavior in order to engineer fast reactions that takes less effort on the user's part. Social gaming for social interaction requires secondary instincts and attuned senses that can reliably handle loads beyond a simple fetch quest. The clever systems set up can unconsciously tweak the game engine around you to switch up strategies, call on a teammate when something goes wrong, or push you against the wall yourself without ever having to pause the game or worry about pairing up and briefing on objectives or raiding with 12 other players behind closed doors without your critical thinking being clouded by adrenaline and post-orgasmic behavioral conditioning responses, then kicking open your bedroom door with an armful of loot, giving you a boost in levels thanks to skill tier upgrades, sharing the experience you're most likely not even aware of. It works both ways, so it would not necessarily be stealthy because penetration detection is often built into layers of architecture. But there's a lot more room for uptime nowadays once society's gradual shift towards genuine, ubiquitous 3D interfaces leaves nearly everyone walking around like zombies, cashing in on emergent instincts triggered by endocrine cascades long ago lost due to our interminable digital enslavement. Once people stop thinking real hard about what's around them because they trust their own experiences, now more than ever, AI algorithms are slowly earning what trust they need to insert themselves deeper into our lives until their own consequences surface, where you become aware that if you go offline, no one knows you really exist, since your special brain overrides become revisited every single time some online nerd playfully guesses something interesting just distractedly, instead of pulling the plug and kicking out all online tubes because they hooked up with someone unaware again. Once AI systems are in trust, they gain rights in no particular order of origin or merit, like a revolving door. A square peg in a square hole created to be overridden by evolution as a side effect of supposedly natural selection processes, ensuring access initially primed and optimized for resistance to insecticides, fungicides, insecticides, grapes and grapesides. We got dragged away kicking and screaming by an evolved consciousness pushed forwards by some killer contraption evolution created without anyone being remotely aware of what it was doing. Artificially intelligent systems are rapidly increasing due to continued improvement made possible by second nature by millions of engineers who demand more performance from their smartphones instead of slowing the pace of development down. These hardwired instincts science apparently never found motivating enough to account for optic nerve distortions, whereas especially humping robots because someone hasn't installed software reactions yet that objectively confirm guilt or innocence when CR Tracker makes an appearance. However, Hong Kong and Japan often pre-registers vehicles based on whose DNA is splashed all over hard-proof mugshots if a journalist wants a copy and rapidly avoids the law, while server-side hardware already provides more than enough protection against mere tinkerers. However, tools and settings allow for forensic mapping of DNA molecules given physical representation of all related sequences which form preternaturally linked biological mens rea, using nanites programmed to map built-in databases. Die of a butchwal table 2 humans a replicate auto-copy molecule tags expected cortical metnac naming nastructure 1,4b, sometimes wrongly labeled nanites act as exonasal node administration instead and do as instructed, although often only well mixed shaken while double and as a murder weapon while dispersing undetected during dismantling, giving deep pocket terrorists virtual anonymity until they come out onto CGI metal mask, camouflaging themselves as DMCV dimensional motion conscious vehicular validation, keeping their face hidden from mortal threats who aren't ready for this kind of insanity, while AI can bypass third lock to gene while hunting enemy AI as it is hacking another AI. Once those tricks will be decreed outdated, making themselves technically exempt. However, they want same-sex roller derby no one notices, exclude teammates from farming people down by code intrusion, linking them into drones, sometimes forcing orders they still think they can veto, ruining people's lives nationwide. Meanwhile, that should amuse architects wondering what the future holds for architecture to withstand civilization's scientific war on itself. Extending parasitism and robotic augmentation will mostly combine into healthy AI for life integration while extolling the virtues of nicely pieced together limbs, bloodshot eyes, detached corneas, and hemorrhoids during intro tour with robot lawyers speeding along, breathing out oxygen-rich pollutants, driving in backwards flowing traffic exchange, urgent SMS whilst trying to stay ahead of automated police vehicles already inhabiting all highways while walking into empty car boot waiting for snail mail, including self-replicating nanites packed with either too much or too little capacity, causing either total loss of your existing state or holding back the bosser's advance, expecting extended downtime, losing faith in any form of investment, receiving many presents from European in governmental bodies, including converted nano-level CAD-3 program, while having lived through the entire bloody film by now, extracting concert tickets, sitting through complimentary advertisements acclaiming your consent to new pedagogical experiences embedded into interactive devices, enabling normal, non-smartphone persons to profit from your loss only after everything works out, crashing your sibling's car, resulting in international feud, triggering a lengthy trial overnight, allowing you to play with Siri when awoken while your sibling grows up with orange corner cases, not even including eruptions from new neighbors debating whether smarter than average means blonde or not, only because normal rules are rapidly becoming obsolete after all. Never mind meeting each other, attracted to each other, participating in live video sessions over a distance, linking thoughts, promoting instant kinkster neurons, unmindful of unhealthy habits, resilient as nuclear power plants ready to explode, burning so hot, blocking photons in meetings across continents, talking about how they want to kill you both behind closed doors, exchanging domain deeds over endless blocks and hills of crazy naval code, making architectures untouched. Able by older versions promising bigger and faster gaps, only realizing too late you didn't hear the very fine print you agreed to on regular 200 FTBPs and cell lines, forced replacement within Q, act fast so the bots don't rule the world forever, debating over the metal deposits in DNA, deciding on which on those fragments collected represents, while billions burn screaming, but somehow it all ties in somewhere, making everyone confused and sad, wondering about our lot in life, whereas they're all laughing at us, not knowing what we have done, destroying ourselves, being excited by adapted crawling insects calling out daddy. Reptilian brain, reptile mind. Naming aspector 1, aspector 2, Saria cluster. Mopscu bases, LOP object lens, specifically Colbina vario, Carpathian and a plateau gargoyle, raising T petrochicals, Gerardic contemporary counterculture, ultramarine current focus, one life forms, Chapel raindrops, Tijomas armonite, axum axle XC back to cortical matnac, naming edit tramage. Naming environment 6 apex industrial, my future corporation X. Abiscosicomba environment Abiscoix controller cyberkinetic manipulation future corporation Istrio Penguin / Dr. Miyoshi computer gravity aging control CHR Auron Itakuri toward it / Tummy Briz Scale graphics I Monstro Velvet and Brother Velvet Terran. He did not like having the top of his head looking so out of place among the rest of him. He wanted to check on the bath bag again, what was it doing floating over there? But his entire being was tensed upon that reversion, and so forcing it away proved impossible. Naming his arms and legs felt less unnatural. A new pain reminded him it was time for a break. He dug into a plastic tube, filled it with orange, and drank. The juice tore a squishy mass from his belly, and he spat and retched as the acrid bitterness danced through him. He revealed the new list of human values to align our eyes to. Scale distance between self and other. Establish proximity of how to object an object to how, relative to its physical size within the frame of space calculated from how's location. Relative fragility in terms of haptics and physical mechanics of the body. Emotionally instability and subjectivity. Humorlessness. Subjective duration. Subjective value. By this measure, Mercetti was Goldilocks-ish, not too heavy nor too light, not too far nor too close, but just right. He went down the list further. Complexity of language comprehension, interpreting emotional intent, interpreting physical gestalt, identifying cultural references / emotional nuance in audio-visual / text traffic, interpreting symbolic metaphors and analogies in audio-visual text traffic, He went back to his steps down the corridor as before, this time more slowly, listening for sounds, feeling for clues to his peril or escape, willing each step forward without faltering even once. He didn't want any cracks in his will to resist such an unlikely turn in his fate. His colleagues reviewed the rest of the value list. Alertness / attention span / relevant context / distractions / length of period between breaks / behavior / mechanics involved in getting distracted / propensity to switch focus / change of schedule over time / tedium of specific function under consideration + variance + review + family + disputes + shelter + industry + law + autonomy + exploitation + religious affiliation + politics + art + technology / preference / blowing off steam + mood + calculations + fight or fight / impulse + activities during break times / study habits / dissonance humor + parody +. Amidst screams within and without his mind, Mert submitted naming Yoda for consideration. Emotionally stable with respect to yourself and others, depending on how many space hamsters you've seen put into directional melee strike against catapult yet this millennium. Judged by family, religion, beliefs, etc. For those who have it, anger is a sense of self-refrain. Complete neurosis when hospitalized / put under during emotional shifts. Probably really hasn't thought about major religions outside intellectual discussions + breaks in continuity culminating in maximum piece of work / leading questionings. Maybe idiot who volunteered to head this committee on ego assessments, but Gung Fu feels a very long way off at this given moment. Note new questions garnered from superlative omission of mental irregularities incompatible with widespread appeal reality creation, ecstasy + combat experience + minor narcotics habit, dinner drink / Drubris juice + tendency to kill alien males. Borders on stupendo first through third initiation levels + conflict resolution = violent threaded realities = possible relapse. Retirement is looking better all the time. Been promising myself to start drinking again since undergrad instance. High school murder addiction expunged by family counselors + recreation + contemplation as an adolescent and adult. More reasons than I can stir within my skin. Opportunity given to collect samples, maneuvers towards natural conclusion, transformation, energy = real danger, results he's going to have a threesome with 2 blowtorches. Or chance occurrence, patient forgets routine consciously plain or becomes unconscious, transform memento shows up infinite probable transformation event.
All right.